Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Create Yourself Imagery, Intimacy, Innovation, a place where people from all walks of life in various backgrounds come together to share their transformative personal and professional stories of restoration, confidence, clarity, and empowerment. I'm Joyce Kiles, your global speaker and life and leadership thriving coach. And if you are ready to transition, transform, and thrive, this is the podcast for you. This week, I am super excited about who I have to share with you today. I have known this young lady for a number of years. We have worked in different professional spaces and what have you. And for those who know me pretty well, that I have had some space on social media and some presence on social media, I should say, but had not spent a lot of time really trying to grow the social media spaces. So one day I was on LinkedIn, excuse me, no, on, let's see, it was probably Instagram. It was Instagram on this particular day. And I came across an upcoming event that this young lady was actually a part of. And I thought, oh my goodness, I haven't seen her in years. And she is in theater. I had no idea. Not only is she acting, but she's producing and all the things. And I thought, this is so cool. So I am just so honored and privileged that she said yes to me. He said yes to my ask of being on the podcast today to be able to talk a bit about who she is as a writer and a producer and all the things. So, without further ado, let me introduce to some and present to others none other than my friend, Kate DeSessions, executive producer at Enchanted Valley Productions and Chestnut Tree Films. Kate, welcome to the show today.
Wow. Hi, Joyce. That was a very, that really boosted my ego right there. That was amazing. Thank you. I'm excited to meet me.
Oh no. Well, that is wonderful, and it is all true. I've often shared that I am really needing to work on my social presence a lot more, and I feel like you are a great example of why I need to do that because I feel like I have missed out on things with people. So, not just sharing about myself, but actually learning about what others are doing. So, I think this is a great segue for me to just jump right on in and ask you to share with our listeners a little bit about who you are and about how long you have been doing the work that you're doing in this space.
All right. Well, again, my name is Kate DeSessions, and I am an executive producer at Enchanted Valley Productions and Chestnut Tree Films. The Enchanted Valley Productions, we distribute or we create Christmas films. Right now, we currently have two Christmas movies out on Amazon. One is called Colorado Christmas, and the other one is called Merry Birthday, Happy Christmas. And we have three other completed films that are with a sales agent. And one of them was actually filmed in Memphis, Tennessee. No snow. Like, who's ever heard of a Christmas movie without snow? But we filmed with actors here in Memphis and Mississippi. And that one's called A Merry Little Christmas, Mary. Then our two others that are completed are From Christmas with Love and Christmas Cards. And those should be coming out this Christmas. And we are very excited about those. I got my start and my love of theater and film probably in sixth grade. I had an amazing teacher. Her name was Mrs. Vaughn, and our class got to put on plays. So we did things like, oh my goodness, what did we do? We did Legend of Sleepy Hollow. We did some plays with Tom Sawyer. We also had an all female fan dance where we danced with fans. She taught us a dance that we could perform. We got to do this for the school and also for our parents, and I was just so excited. And that is what kind of created uh, or began who I am today. Uh, so jumping forward a lot, uh, not gonna say how many years,
Just a
but
few, huh?
just a few years. Um, I realized that there was something missing in my life, a creative outlet. Everything was so focused on work, and I was bored, and I needed something to lift my spirits. So back then, we actually got a physical newspaper that you could pick up and read, and there was a want ad for background actors for this movie that was being filmed, an independent film in Memphis. And I decided that I wanted to try that. So that was my first um, foray into the Memphis film scene. From there, I started looking into other things either on Facebook or in the paper that were asking for background actors. And I ran across an acting studio here in Memphis that I no longer go to because I've grown away from that. But I started attending acting classes, and from there, my world just kind of grew. And I was able to be in different movies. I attended uh, the Memphis Film Prize, and I was actually able to finally write and direct my very first short film, and that was in 2021, um, right before COVID, or right around COVID, and um, I made it into the top 10 of that one, my very first short film, and I was so excited. I didn't win, but still making it into the top 10 out of hundreds of applicants was a big achievement for me.
Yeah, that's huge. That is really huge.
um, and those films are actually on YouTube. You can go and check my short films out. One is called Shattered, the other one is called Shiny. I've done two of them, and they're on the Great Wall of Kate YouTube channel. Um, and so I was helping out with another production where I was a script supervisor. And the DP, the director of photography, um, he and I hit it off and realized that we had a lot of things in common. And we started talking, and we decided one day, sitting on my couch, just talking about films, we decided to make a Christmas movie. um, And so
Wow.
that was the beginning of Enchanted Valley Productions.
Wow. My goodness. So, Kate, there are several things that I got from what you shared, and I guess I'll start with one of the things that you mentioned of just being in a space of knowing that there was something more that you wanted to do and something more you wanted to create. And picking up the newspaper, because yeah, at one point in time we did actually pick up physical newspapers. Uh, so what you shared though was going from that to going online, Facebook, looking at groups and things like that. It really speaks to one of the things that I mentioned when we first got started, and that was the importance of, using the social media for good, and how we may be missing out on opportunities because we're not utilizing and taking full advantage of what, you know, Facebook or any of these other social media platforms may have to offer. So I love that you lifted that piece up. And the fact that the first, you know, film that you wrote and directed made it to the top 10. That is really top tier. I'm sure you are proud of yourself, but if you're not, you should be.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that is really cool. And the last thing that I'll mention, at least in this piece or this part of our conversation, is the fact that you talked about when Enchanted Valley Productions, was birthed, and 2021 was not that long ago. And so it really speaks to all of what you share, really speaks to what I wanted this podcast to be about. in terms of creating the life that you desire and deserve at any age, that it doesn't have to be defined by, anything that you may have previously done or worked on, or, I may have been a basket weaver as a profession, and now I want to, go into skydiving. Like it's really all right that we have so many gifts, still skills and talents that we may just be sitting on, and this is an opportunity to share and create, the life that you want. So I can hear in your voice that you truly enjoy what you are doing now. So that's a good segue for me to ask you, what are some of the most gratifying parts about what you do at this point?
Oh, wow. There are a lot of gratifying parts. So I'm also a writer of these films, and one of the best feelings is when you are there behind the camera, you're watching your actors, and they perform this scene not as you wrote it, but better because they embody the characters, because they bring their own experiences into the character and into the scene, and um, just watching it happen. Um, okay, so an example. Every Christmas movie has a kissing scene, right? So when we were filming A Merry Little Christmas, it was one of the last scenes that we did was the final kiss at the end, and just watching it, I was able to take myself out of the producer writer um, role. And I sat there and I just watched them perform that scene. And it was like I was sitting on my couch holding a cup of hot chocolate and
Oh, I
just
love it.
and just watching them. And I couldn't stop smiling. And my my art director, Jenny Harris, who's absolutely amazing. I absolutely love her and all of her work, decorated everything. She started off watching the characters, and then in the corner of my eye, I saw her turn and watch me and my reaction to what was going on. And she even told me afterwards, she's like, "Watching you and your reaction to those actors," she said, "that was better than actually watching them."
Oh, that is beautiful.
So
I love it.
it's very gratifying to see your work or my work. If someone is out there, looking to do something like this, seeing your work actually come to life is it fulfills that creative void.
That is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. I can certainly relate to that to some degree. I do write, but I think for me, just as you're sharing that, I'm thinking about like even the presentation that I did last night and seeing that I incorporated parts of myself in it, and people were like, "Oh yeah, I can relate to that," or "This is good. I appreciate that. I appreciate the way that you framed it. I like the wording that you used for it." And I'm thinking, this is great because I wrote this. So I get it. It is truly a beautiful thing to experience when people can really embody what it is and take in what it is that you do. So I know that that is gratifying for you. Has there been any parts of the work that you're doing that you consider like a labor of love that may have been disheartening or disappointing, or, because I know that our journeys have highs and lows, ebbs and flows from time to time. So are there any parts that you have, like I said, maybe have found a bit disheartening or challenging in some way?
Uh, well, actually, right now, I'm kind of going through that. The sales market, the market for films, is completely different now, even from 2 years ago when we sold our first film. The market now, because of the SAG strikes and just the climate of what's going on in the world, the need for films has decreased and people are less willing to buy things that they don't know are a sure thing. But that's that's kind of a uh I'm not sure the word.
Yeah, that can be down challenging. It can be disheartening. It can be all the things, especially when you put all of your heart, soul, time, and talent into it, and then, you see this shift, and this is a passion, but it's also part of, your livelihood. So, yeah,
it,
that
it
I can imagine it being a challenge.
Oh, it is so challenging, and we'll get these emails from our, sales agent, like, "Yeah, we have people interested, it's just they're not giving us the deals that we want." So, a feature film, I'm not gonna say how much we spent on our films, but roughly a feature film in an independent sector can be anywhere from 150,000 to 300,000. Um,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It it's a lot of money,
Yeah.
and so having just distribution companies come at us and say, "Oh, we'll give you 12,000 for it." It's extremely disheartening, especially because of all the work and everything that you put into it, and a lot of independent filmmakers, us included, we have to try and find ways to save money, to cut costs. I didn't take a salary. And neither did a lot of the people that worked
Mm,
on our films and
okay.
have worked on our films is we don't take salaries. We try and cut as much of that budget as we can to spend the least amount of money as possible to create something that's magical and beautiful and that people will watch.
Right. Right. Wow. Um, and for someone who has worked in the nonprofit space, ran her own nonprofit for many years, before dissolving altogether, I can certainly appreciate the piece around the not taking a salary,
Yep.
because there is this misconception in many spaces that when you are the owner of something or the executive director of something or the executive producer of something, that we are acquiring these large salaries and making boatloads of money and all the things, and people don't often understand the labor of love, because we have this passion and desire to produce a thing, to share a thing, to support people, to help people.
Right.
You
Because
know,
on paper, you can make this large amount of money and
right,
live large, but in reality, that's not what happens.
right, right. And that's not what happens for a lot of us. I'm
A
saying
lot.
us. And right now, specifically in this climate, people really are watching their dollars and pinching and making decisions about what's independent versus what's more established, perhaps to the individual. And even in that, in established spaces, established individuals, I can certainly speak to it from my perspective. There are individuals who have been speaking and coaching and training and have a lot of notoriety, and yet I still see some of them in the same spaces that I'm in terms of trying to garner new support, new
Yep.
followers, new opportunities. And so it can definitely be difficult or daunting, but I will ask you this because I feel like I already know the answer, even
Okay.
with all of the struggles that, we may have had, and may, have going forward with some things. Is the do you find that despite all of it, you still find gratification in it? You still want to do it. You still get up in the morning, get excited about it.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Definitely. This is something that I have a passion for. It is something that I love doing. I love working behind the scenes more than I like working in front of the camera as an actor. So I did transition from working in theater and working in as an actor in front of the camera to doing more things like writing and producing and directing. And I found that that to me is more fulfilling than showing my face on camera.
That's interesting. My husband and I are the same way
Mhm.
in that he does not want to be in front of the camera to do anything, but he will help support anything that I do as long as I'm out there and he's, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I have talked to him on more than one occasion about, getting out there and speaking up and talking and sharing because he's really good at it. I think, but he's not in the same world that I'm in. He's, all things tech and investments and, all that stuff that just is of no interest to me in terms of me articulating any of it. But that's his space. And so I always tell, well, you should talk more about it. And he said, well, I'm gonna stay behind the scenes and I do what I do until I absolutely have to get out front. And he said what you just said,
Mhm.
that is where he feels the most fulfilled. That's where he shows up most. He'll go out front if he has to and he has the ability to do it, but he enjoys, you know, deal making and all things tech and creating all these spaces and investing and all of that. That works for him. So I think that it's wonderful that you've shared that it's something that you can do. It's something that you started out doing, but you found that sweet spot that makes you happy and makes you feel fulfilled. So I do applaud that. I applaud you. I truly believe that if you continue to put out the great work that you're putting out, the right person is going to pick it up even in this season. They're going to pick it up because I'm speaking this over you as well as myself. That
Well, thank you.
yeah, you know, because to say that films cost six figures to make and someone is offering you five and low five at that,
Yes.
yeah, that's disheartening and it's disrespectful.
Yes, it is.
So no, we are not claiming that. We are going to keep pushing forward. You do amazing work. So it's going to pick up and the right person is going to see it, like I said, in this season, because I just believe that. I've been saying it all year. So I'm seeing it trickle in for myself. I know it's happening for you too.
Well, thank you.
So as we begin to wind down our conversation, I do want to ask, I know that you did mention that you have the Christmas films that you're working on and two that are upcoming. Do you have anything specifically that's coming up in terms of theater or even movies that either you're producing right now or that you are a part of that you're acting? I know you don't do much in front of the camera these days, but there may be some other artists that you're working with that are part of your team. Anything you have going on that you want to share?
Ooh, uh, not sure how much I can share, but on our website, Chestnut Tree Films, there are two upcoming films that we are trying to get filmed this year. One is a horror movie
Oh, wow.
called,
Okay.
yeah, this is under Chestnut Tree. This is not Enchanted Valley.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I already hear the difference. Okay.
And it is called The Girl Who Was Dead. So that one, we hope to get at least a trailer for within the next couple months so that we can start showing to investors and showing them, what the potential for that movie would be. And the other one that we are trying to get filmed in Mississippi is called White Sycamore.
Okay.
And we hope again to use local actors and um, there's a gimmick with this one, but I can't say it because that would give it away.
Okay.
Uh,
Then enough said.
but
Say less.
but we're gonna start shooting a few scenes probably here at the end of June
Okay.
for
All
that
right.
one.
Sounds good. So we have heard some ways that we can show up in support in terms of sharing your websites, sharing the work that you're doing, that you have films that are available on Amazon. So that those are ways that we can show up and purchase and support and share your work. Before I get into the very, very last questions that I have, which is around how to get in touch with you specifically, I would like for you to take the next few moments to share any points or encouraging words that you may have for our audience that may be looking to get into film, maybe, behind the scenes in front of the camera. Maybe they're just a little bit nervous about an endeavor that they're looking to embark on. So what type of points or advice or encouraging words, resources, just whatever you'd like to share that would help encourage our listeners to create the life that they want to have because it's the life that they desire and deserve.
So, my first word of encouragement would be no matter what your background, it's never too late to find something that you love. I have a master's degree in criminal justice and I'm producing films because this is something that I love. It's something that it's almost like it's not something that I chose. It kind of like grabbed me and said, "Hey, you should be doing this. You should be working in film." And that's what the way it is with a lot of passions that people have. So, if you have a passion for film and you don't know how to get into it, my advice is to first start learning how to act because that way you can interact with people. You interact with not only other actors, you'll start interacting with directors. You'll start interacting with gaffers and grips, and those are people who work behind the scenes with the equipment. You'll start interacting with people who do sound, and while you may love acting, you may also find something else that grabs your passion. Um, Now, there are a lot of resources online for acting classes, and that is where I suggest you start because there's a lot of classes that you can take for free on YouTube. There's a wonderful acting coach, casting director. Her name is Wendy Elaine Wright, and she has a YouTube channel. And she will tell you exactly what you need to do in order to get cast in something, in order to put yourself out there, in order to get picked up by a manager or an agent. She just spills all the tea on how to be an actor and how to work the film community. So that is where I say start is yes, start on social media, looking for things. There are Facebook groups that you can look at, but also for acting, if you don't have the courage yet to actually talk to people, start with things that are online.
Wow, great advice indeed. Great resources to tap into. So we on this show like to say that, we are doing all that we can to eliminate the excuses so that you can create the reality of what it means to transition, transform, and thrive. You certainly have given us that. And I love that you talked about the fact that it just kind of pulled you in. You have a background in criminal justice, but yet you're producing and writing films. And, so we don't have to stay in the space of where we started if there's a passion that we have. This is excellent example of what it means to create yourself. And I am a huge Mission Impossible person. I'm a huge, I love action films. I am very much into all things that are action packed and thrill seeking and all the things. So Mission Impossible just, that does it for me. And I heard Tom Cruise recently talking about one of the things that you just mentioned in terms of just learning all the things, learning all the pieces. If you're, you know, take acting classes and connecting with other directors and other actors. And you may find that in doing that, hey, maybe I don't want to stay in front of the camera. Maybe I'm great behind the scenes, or maybe I'm staying behind the scenes and now I want to be out front of the camera, and just learning how all the things work. I think that is so important. So I'm glad that you shared and you lifted those pieces up. And I'm so glad that you decided to allow what was pulling at you to bring you the joy, because you absolutely deserve it. You really do.
Oh, thank you.
So, with that being said, we are wrapping up. My last question to you, and of course, I always share the information online so that not only do you hear it in our guest's voice, but you also have it readily available to click and join. So, having said that, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Okay, well, I am on Facebook as Kate DeSessions. We have websites, Enchanted Valley Productions .com, and also chestnuttreefilms.com, and you can go and get in touch with us. There's email links that you can get in touch with anybody associated with our production companies. If you need to get in touch with me specifically, you can always email me. My email is thegreatwallofkate@gmail.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram. I am Kate. Sorry, I am. What is my Instagram? Oh my goodness, it's Kevlar Kate. Yeah, Kevlar Kate.
All right.
Like, it's been so long since I've thought about that.
No worries at all. Because the irony of all of that, with you saying it that way, is that is how I reconnected with you, was on Instagram. So that was a great way for us to end our conversation. And as I have shared, I'm going to actually have this in print as well. So for those that, as you're listening and it's like, yeah, but I missed that in the conversation, no worries. You will see it underneath the episode. All of the contact information will be there, as well as her very impressive bio.
Ooh.
So you will have multiple ways to connect with Kate. And at this time, since it is our time to end the conversation, I'd like to just take a moment to say thank you so much for being a guest on the show, Kate. It has been a joy to reconnect with you in this way and to share. And I'm just excited to see what's next for you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to see what's next for you. You've done so much, and you also have created a wonderful space for not only for yourself, but for others.
Thank you. Your Cash App will be available to you as soon as the broadcast is over.
Thank you.
But thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That has certainly been a goal of mine, and to create spaces like this, to be able to talk, to share, to learn, to grow, to transition, to transform, to thrive, what it means to restore, what it means to just be empowered and inspired to know that you can truly, truly live the life that you desire and deserve. So, with that, that is a good way for me to go ahead and end today's broadcast and say thank you for tuning in today, because without you, I could not do the work that I am doing. So until next time, please go forward and create the life that you desire and deserve. And remember that you can do that at any age. Let's continue to transition, transform, and thrive together. Until next time, talk to you soon.